taking on a bit of a spooky adventure, as Rob has sort of outlined. Please join us in the Discord chat labeled Tremulus so you can chat along and follow along and get a deep dive into the horrors that are about to befall us. Now, Rob, take it away from everywhere you were just saying, whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I mean...
Can I just ask if this is enough dice?
You will need 2 of those.
Great.
That many.
I'm going to use the die roller, and I encourage you all to use it if you'd like. You are more than welcome and encouraged to use your own thing as well, but the die roller is always there. If you'd like, I can send you guys a link. But no pressure.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't need that. I don't roll dice in this game. It's the best.
This is the system for that, isn't it?
Yeah. So why don't we start with the bereaved? You want to tell us a little bit about your character, like their name and what their deal is, and if you've had a chance to look at any of that cool stuff?
Yes. So my character is Vespera Phillips, and she is the widow of the funeral director, Kevin Phillips. She is devastated by his death. She's constantly wearing her mourning clothes that are one of her starting gear items. She has a melancholy face, woeful eyes, and a frail build. Kind of like her bereavement is wasting her away a little.
How long ago did she die?
Well, it was sudden and unexpected, and she feels like it was just yesterday, but it could have been, not too long ago, because she does have a small child with him. Another starting gear item. So I'm guessing within the past year.
Sure. We could say weeks even.
Yes, it has been only 2 weeks, but a fortnight since the passing of her dear Kevin. And Vespera is devastated, is taking care of her small child, Hester, who gives her hope. If Hester remains in her care, alive and, being cared for, then Vespera gets +1 luck. Oh, that's fun. And Vespera does also have a relative remaining alive in town. That is her aunt, who is the current funeral director, who used to be her husband's business partner. So, that is Vespera. She does also have a small, unreliable car. So if anyone needs her to drive you somewhere, I gotcha.
Don't choose her because it's unreliable and small.
I mean, she'll get you there eventually. It'll be, a little cramped, but, we have to push a little bit or, it'll be
I'll try.
How old is Hester?
Hester is 3.
Oh. Perfect.
Quite small.
Yeah. I guess we've also got an escapee.
Yes, we do.
What's their deal?
So their deal, I am going to be playing Edwin Rockford. I am a recent ish escapee from the Washburn Reserve for the Criminally Insane, which is an asylum deep in the woods in our lovely setting. I am wearing loose casual clothing. I have a hollow face with haunted eyes, and I have a very athletic build. I also carry around with me, being a wonderful escapee, a butcher knife and a shotgun and a flashlight and some gloves, because I have experienced some shit and I ain't never going back.
I'm so on board for this fool.
Right?
Yeah, Edwin's badass.
Edwin is badass. I felt like playing like kind of a very grizzled, badass kind of character. So I think he's a good choice for that.
Snake Plissken.
So that Dr. Adrian Hoff, who runs that place, did she ever get you in the operating room?
I think she did. And it's one of those things where I think I've escaped, and they probably know I've escaped, but they also might be confident in the procedures that they've run and the operations that I've undergone, that they don't think I'm any kind of threat. Because I'm obviously kind of off my rocker, but maybe I'm one of those people that escaped and then they spun the story to be like, oh yeah, no, we we cured him. He's a valuable-ish member of society now.
How interesting. So are you, how long ago did you escape? Like enough that you're part of the town, or are you still...
I'm still kind of feeling my way. I don't think I've been able to get out of the town yet, mostly because I don't know where to go or what to do. I think I definitely still hold a grudge towards the reserve, but I'm thinking maybe a couple months, enough for the hysteria of me escaping to have kind of settled down and subsided.
Yeah, totally eclipsed by the recent weird death of Kevin Phillips.
Yeah. So maybe me escaping happened like a month before that, and I was laying low for the month, and then after the death of Kevin Phillips happened, kind of everything switched over to that. But I think having me separated from that event from when I escaped makes more sense, because otherwise everyone would be like, yeah, that crazy escapee did it.
No, I don't think that's the prevailing wind. I get you. Speaking of prevailing winds, I hear there's a captain.
Yar, there be a captain here.
What's up?
Nothing. I thought I heard a scurrying above. Aye.
What are you the captain of?
Oh, the Jackdaw. It's a ship that travels here and there, mainly to this island where we're heading, the land of this town, which the name escapes me.
Ebon Eves is the name of the town.
Well, I just call it an unsultry place where people go to die.
What's the name of the captain? Or is he just the captain?
Oh, I go by the captain to many people, but my true name be Sam Crenshaw. And I have a personal sidearm. I start with a personal sidearm, a trawler. Don't know what that is. I'm assuming that's a boat.
That's a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Jackdaw, I would assume.
Yeah. What is a trawler size-wise? I'm picturing a bigger boat.
I think a trawler is like a fishing boat.
Okay.
Kind of size. So
yeah.
But like big fish or little fish?
Both.
I like big nets and stuff is what I'm kind of. Yeah.
And I picture Sam is an old, grizzled sort of. He's got that far off look in his eye, like you carry on with him for a minute and he's just staring through you. But he's wise too. He kind of knows. He's this wiry. He's got a big gray beard and he's always chewing on a pipe, but it seems never lit. I get to choose to start with two of the following, which I'm picking: a free dock space, which is on the island that I use when I ferry people, and D6 crew, which I rolled 5, and I have a crew that sort of goes around deck, and I've got Slim, Sloop, Shardy, Scum, and Paul. Paul's a real piece of work.
Hey, which one was Kevin's brother?
Paul. That's why he's a piece of shit. Yeah.
I mean, he's been crying all the time. He lost his favorite brother. It's been real.
Oh, he doesn't know he's dead yet.
Oh, shit. Well, he's crying all the time anyways. And
no, he's a piece of shit. I'm hoping this straightens him out, because I guess I don't know yet. Maybe I do. I know. I got word of it.
You just haven't told him yet.
I haven't told him. I wanted to bring him into the bar and maybe buy him a drink. That's how I say it, drunk. And Sam Crenshaw's got a dark past, and why he doesn't trust this island. See, he's got a son who tried to fix that clock tower up there, and he fell to his death. I don't talk about it though. Bit embarrassed, frankly. Don't know why, but I don't talk about it. And I use the Jackdaw to trawl to bring people back and forth, to bring people to the island, because there's not many ways to get to Ebon Eves, or as I call it, hell. So I think that's what they called it.
Nice. Got a bit of a history here, I hear.
Yeah, well, I'm old, right? So
yeah,
Ebon Eves was just a forest when I was.
Wow. You're anxious. What's your son's name? The guy that
well,
clock.
His name was Ken Crenshaw.
Ken Crenshaw.
Yeah.
So I hear there's also a mortician among us.
Oh, yes, that would be me.
What's your name?
Well, it's very nice to meet you. Mrs. Clem Hatchet. I'm yes, I'm a tall, thin, pale woman. I wear kind of a flowy, rustic garb. Lots of old jewelry clattering around on my wrists and in my earlobes. I have an unassuming face, but my manner of dress is not really something that you see around the place. I have quick eyes. I notice details. I'm someone who works with the dead. It's my job to help the living let go of their loved ones. It's a hard job. And the methods I employ are sometimes unconventional, but I believe that they do the job the best that I can. Now, I've seen the horrible ways that people die, and I'm not afraid of death. No, I'm not. I've seen it up close and personal. I've held the hands of people dying, and I've put dead hands into the ground more times than I can count. And I know that if you take your pliers and you just clip off the big toe of one of your corpses and you don't hear a sound, well then for sure it's dead. Yes.
That's a good place to start with every autopsy, is the big toe.
You have to make sure that they're dead for sure, because you never know. Maybe they are just sleeping. Maybe they are sleeping.
Is Miss Hatchet or Mrs. Hatchet from Ebeneves, or is she an outsider?
I'm an outsider. I do actually have a connection at the local hospital. I practiced as a midwife in my early years. As an older woman now, it's become quite distant to me, but there is someone there who I knew back from my midwifery days. We do keep in contact occasionally by writing to each other, yes.
Who's that?
Sandra.
Yes.
Ramirez.
That's the name.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Sandra Ramirez is she's probably the got to be the main doctor in town now. I think for everything that doesn't belong to the home and the criminally insane with Dr. Adrian Hoff, Sandra takes care of in the city. Absolutely.
And much like two of my associates here, I also come with a vehicle. A hearse, of course, which I drive around at great speed.
I'm really glad I didn't pick my vehicle option, because I'm like, oh, I should do that. Cars are useful. And then I looked at it a bit more, and it would have been a town car.
Excellent.
Stolen, reliable.
Very good. Very good.
Part of me loves the idea of the hearse getting offloaded out of this trawler, like it got brought here by the ferry.
But of course. And I myself am religious, though not with the Catholic faith, with a religion of my own design.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, luckily they're pretty non-denominational around here. As long as you want to join a club, hang out with the Washburn women or the
not necessarily
cigar
no.
club.
Mm.
What's your religion, miss? I'm interested. Sign me up.
Well, it has to do with odor.
Love it.
Who doesn't love a good odor?
Oh, damn.
An odor-based religion.
Something doesn't smell right, and I just gotta look into it. And something doesn't smell right when the jackdaw pulls up to the docks in Ebeneves, and you get the opportunity to offload your hearse from this ferry onto the. It's something about the whole town just smells a little off. The dock is fairly quiet. There's really just the just this trawler pulling in. It doesn't look like they've got a big business of fishing or anything. It's not really a.
Well, hold on. It's pretty. I mean, I'm doing well.
I mean, yeah, but you suffer better on the mainland than you do in Ebeneves. Like maybe they take a little bit of fish here, but there's no processing here. You're not making money here. This is like your. I mean, it's a really strange place for your son, who definitely has a name that I wrote down. Ken Cruncher. Yeah, it was a strange place for him to pick, but now it's got that soft spot in your heart for sure.
Well, not since he died.
How long ago did he die?
Oh, going on 5 years now. He moved out
Yeah.
here after his lady cheated on him. He wanted to start anew. Came out here.
Poor Ken.
Yeah, he worked on me boat as a mechanic.
Well, lucky for Miss Hatchet, you do have a letter from Sandra Ramirez asking for a second opinion on something in town. She needed an expert because something is really weird, and it's been a couple of somethings actually. It's not just the one thing, and she's desperate to speak with you.
Of course, yes. I come post haste, and when Captain Crenshaw finally finishes his docking procedures, rigorous as they are, I pull out, screeching my tires on the wooden docks.
Slow down there, miss. You'll likely rot the boards through.
Burn rubber. And such.
I think we jump to a scene in the hospital. It's right next door. It's sort of a religious, not a religious institution, but it's sponsored by the Cigar Club. It's the Evergreen Hospital. It's right beside the Evergreen Memorial Cemetery. It's sort of an all-in-one stop for you come out here to get old and die, and we'll do our best for you. It's and like every day in the last 2 weeks, Vespera stands with Miss Ramirez. Vespera, we do need to find a date for the funeral. If you, I know your Aunt Kim would just love to help make the service really a special thing, but we do eventually need to finish the procedures here.
But Kevin deserves the best. How can I put dear Hester's father in the ground? He's with me. I feel him with me, Sandra. Don't you understand?
I understand, and I'm so sorry for your loss. It's such a tragedy around here. And I promise we'll try and get the answers. I know he seemed like he was having such a joyous walk around town when it happened so suddenly that we found him, and I wish I had more answers for you, but I
How can we put him in the cold, hard ground when I don't even know what took him from me? Sandra, please.
At some point, we might have to make peace with the fact that we might never know.
If I may, hello, Sandra. It's so good to see you, my dear.
Oh, Clem. Oh,
I'm so sorry to interrupt. It's oh no, they're all frozen. Every last one of them.
Oh no.
Dear me.
I wonder if it's discard.
I believe it is an odor-based problem.
A discard-based problem? We've been having difficulty with it the entire day, apparently. Shame that we used it for the video call. Oh,
yes.
It might be internet. Oh, maybe not. Nope. We're still on. It's all good. It's just discard-based.
Oh, phew. Well, as I was saying...
Might as well just keep... Oh! Someone got dropped. Oh! It's us again.
Oh!
Now we're good.
the joy of the live game.
There we go.
Whew. I got scared there. I'm like, shit, our internet crashed. Mm-hmm. And then I saw Elizabeth's message pop up, and I'm like, oh, it's not us. Good. And then I was like, oh no, the stream crashed.
That's just Discord,
It was a roller coaster. Yeah, I think it was Discord.
Dumb old
Discord.
Discord.
Good. So it wasn't me. I'm going to blame Discord. Happy for that.
No, it was just us. But we still got to do our scene. The captain walked. I'm just kidding. Liz, your camera's off still.
And so's yours, Harley.
Mine's not.
Mm-hmm.
I have him.
No,
I can see him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lucky you.
No.
Ouch.
Too mean.
No, I mean, just you had the luck of. Never mind. Wasn't mean it that way. It's all good.
So
No.
Hold on, Liz's camera's not on yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see if I can help out with that.
Sure. Just want to get her
A little intermission.
gorgeous gob on.
Yeah.
A great time to plug Extra Life. Oh.
It is.
There we go.
if you wanted to help support sick children, and in the hospital, much like we're about to do, we're probably with better practices.
Am I here now?
We can hear
your
you.
voice is here. That's a plus.
Your video's still thinking.
My voice.
Your voice.
Voice. There you go.
Hey,
We're back. Let's rock and roll.
Aha! Hello.
Hello.
All right.
I'm sorry. As I was saying before, I had my mild fainting spell. Yes.
Oh no, it's quite all right.
Sometimes I just black out, and anyway, I'm sorry.
You're best in the business, though. Trust me, Vespera, she's the best there is.
I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, I assure you. So, now what can I help you with? Oh, I'm so sorry. Can I please introduce my friend, the captain?
Oh, I am there.
Of course you are.
Yarr! I like push pass. Nice to meet you. I was sorry to hear about your husband there.
Hello, but I'm sorry. I would prefer to focus. Mrs. Hatchet, is it?
That's right. Yes. Hello.
You can tell me how dear Kevin died?
I would need an
Hester
opportunity.
and I need answers.
Well, yes, of course. Well, I would need an opportunity to have a look at the body and perhaps examine some of the substances associated.
So I don't know if you have a specific move for that on your sheet, but you could always poke around. The body's just over there. It's one of them basic moves. You could roll some dice and see if you find any clues.
I certainly will.
Engage the mechanics of this game.
I do so.
Awesome.
I poke around this body as you all awkwardly introduce yourselves to one another.
Can I help her?
You can sort of stand over and make some observations and see what that does for us.
Do we have any trust with each other yet?
Nah,
probably don't. Probably
Inherit
right.
RPG trust.
I'm just like, if I help, am I likely to hinder? Because I'm pretty sure that Vespera also really wants to help, even if she might be a hindrance.
Sure, you can help.
Yeah.
I wanted to test the mechanics. I haven't played the system in a long time. I couldn't remember how it worked.
No.
You can help. The captain will just sort of idly walk.
So if Vespera's helping, if you roll 2 dice, add. I think we can. In theory, I think I forgot that we're supposed to trust each other, and I forget whether you figure out how many trusts you have for each other. So why don't you decide if you trust these people? And if you do, take a +1 and write that down on your sheet. Do you trust this doctor?
You know, I think I have a base level +1 trust for these people. So I'll give myself a +1. All right. I'm rolling.
As am I. I'm going to poke around, so I'm rolling plus my luck.
That's a good idea, trust
which is 1.
I'm
Beautiful.
a good man.
I rolled a 7.
I wound up with I also got a 7, so you take a +1 help. But I also expose myself to trouble, so.
Yes. So that brings us up to an 8. So let's talk about the poke around with an 8. So you may find hidden areas, a hidden area / threshold in or out, a minor item, or determine a physical hazard present. And I will interpret those in the form of an autopsy.
Indeed.
So you get to pick one of those 3 things.
I would like to find a minor item, and in doing so, I do need to rely on Mrs. Phillips, for her knowledge of her husband's resemblance. I wanted to know whether, does he always have this look of terror on his face, or did he die with a rictus of fear?
I mean, usually he was much more pleasant to look at, I assure you, in life.
Certainly wasn't
so many smiles.
The stiff and pale, no.
I mean, he was always pale, but, he worked in a funeral home.
What's fascinating about his face is it looks pretty gaunt and scary now that he's dead and had this rigor mortis set in, but it's just like the deepest laugh lines, and you can see stress in the chest and in the diaphragm and just all of the things. Like, this person laughed himself to death. like to the point where it hurt and he couldn't stop laughing, and he continued to do that. You do find on his person, I forget what this game defines minor items as, so we're gonna
making it epic and raw.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You find a piece of you find a sprocket. It's like a metal clock piece in his pocket that had somehow been missed previously. As you start, like, to date, there hasn't been much of an autopsy. It's really just they put him on a slab and tried to keep him kind of in ice. So in the undressing, you find a metal piece of a gear.
Mrs. Phillips, you'll have to just permit me this just a moment. And I start undressing her husband in front of her, going through his pockets, looking for pieces of plant life or lint that might give me some kind of clue as to where this man was or what he had done before he was murdered by a comedian or some kind of laughter. And as I do, I find this tiny cog or sprocket. Does this mean anything to you? And I hold it out to her. How curious.
Nothing. I don't. What? I don't recall seeing that. I mean, he was a funeral director, not some sort of watch keeper.
It's the same. It is the same strange brass material the old clock in town is made. That's the only thing you can sort of think, but it's way too small to be a part of that clock.
And the captain's sort of looking over the shoulder, and he notices, I recognize that type of brass. And he just sort of stares longingly up to the clock tower through the mist.
So I think the camera probably follows the captain's stare up to the clock tower, and we come back down out sort of in the center of town where Edwin Rockford is standing, taking a minute to look up at the clock tower, and then look down to the docks where a ship has come in. The first ship off this island since you've escaped. You can see there's a couple of crew hanging out on it. They unload this hearse that drives off at top speed with the captain in it that goes around town to get to the memorial, the Evergreen Memorial Hospital and Cemetery. And there's your way off this rock. What do you do?
Well, I think I see the wonderful man in the captain's hat go along with the hearse and head over to the hospital. And so I'm immediately like, okay, way off, Captain, I bet I can talk to the captain, maybe even get a job on the boat, get some coin.
Oh, there you are.
And then I have money to start my new life off this godforsaken island. So I will do my best to follow the hearse and get to...
Yeah, it's a pretty small town and a pretty new conspicuous car. And so you can sort of watch it as it drives, just up the docks and around, and you catch it a couple of minutes later, passing through the center of town and then heading up sort of just to the edge where the Evergreen Memorial Hospital is. And it doesn't take you too long to get there.
It's a nice hearse.
Yeah, it's way fancier than this town has seen.
It's strange though. It's like a dark navy color, and the curtains on the side are like a cream. It's beautiful.
Ooh.
So when you arrive, you sort of walk through the halls of the hospital, and pretty soon it starts to give you like this weird flashback of the operating room. Like, and especially when you see this stiff body being undressed against its will, as it doesn't have one of its own really, by this old woman standing there. There's another woman, Vespera, with a young boy at her feet, and the captain sort of grizzled standing in there, looking over, watching as the autopsy with a doctor who works here you've seen around town, Dr. Ramirez, sort of overseeing the whole thing, kind of pacing back and forth. What do you do?
So I look in and I see the body kind of being undressed, and that's definitely sort of a trigger for me of like stuff that I've seen happen a lot and stuff that very similarly happened to me. But I think my face hones in on the kind of laughed out expression of the man. And I look into the room, and I just immediately, no, oh, more, please, more. And then I just kind of like I say that in that tone at that level, and then just kind of shake it off and go, I apologize for all of that.
What the hell is wrong with you, boy?
Nothing is technically wrong. Are you the captain that came in off of the boat? I desire passage off of this place.
Well, let's go in the hall and talk. This is no place to discuss business matters like this. Excuse us, lady.
That's my husband on the slab.
No,
I know
technically
He's
was.
dead.
He's dead now. He was not your husband anymore.
Well, he'll always be my husband, Captain Crenshaw. How dare you?
Well, I wasn't saying that
Hester, don't listen to him.
Technically.
Don't listen to that, Captain Hester.
Oh, there's a little boy behind you. Hello.
Oh,
Hester starts
She's
crying
a
and runs off.
girl.
Oh,
Hester starts crying and she runs off.
it's a bit early to.
My
tights
luck. Someone. And Vespera runs down the hall. Very melancholy still. Her run is a little bit lacking in speed. Don't leave me. I've already lost so much.
As Vespera chasing Hester runs off, and Miss Hatchet continues her autopsy, Edwin and Captain Crenshaw have a moment in the hallway.
What do you need, boy? You said you want passage.
yes, off this island. I see you have a ship and a crew. I am capable. I could help pay my way to anywhere, wherever you go next. That is where I am going as well.
Do you know the difference between starboard and port?
Yes, starboard is the direction towards the stars, and port is a drink.
That's right. Not many people know that. Can I read a person, or is that only for
Absolutely.
NPC? Cool.
Yeah, you get a sense of what this guy's all about.
Yeah.
And do you want to get to the captain as well, or are you just trying to give your bet, or do you want to like stop him from getting a good read on you?
I think I'll definitely try and stop him from getting a good read on me. I know I'm not okay.
So trust in this game is not necessarily a measure of how much trust you have, but how much you influence you might have with someone. They just called it trust, whether you think you can help or hinder them. Does Edwin trust the captain?
Yes.
So why don't you roll with a +1? And what did the captain get for their read of purse?
So I just roll plus passion. So I roll 2 die?
Yep. 2d6 plus your passion minus or plus whatever happens with this hindering.
So I got I forgot to show the number on screen. So I got a 7 plus 1. I got an 8.
And how did we do with helping and hindering?
I had a 9 plus 1 for a 10.
10 brings it down. So that brings your 8 down to a 6, which means, Edwin, you're able to tell the captain, sort of spin him along, whatever impression you want to leave him with, and you even get a good sense of him. Why don't you ask the captain one of the questions off a reader person list?
Reader person, okay. Is your character telling the truth? What does your character intend to do? What is your character really feeling? What does your character wish I would do? How could I get your character to... I think I'm going to go and try and please him. So I would like to know, what does your character wish I would do?
And what impression, before you answer that, what impression do you leave the captain with when he's trying to get a read on you?
I think I'm just trying to make him think, like, I might not be the smartest, but with my build and my, like, actual drive to want to be on it, it's going to be enough. Like I'm not a heavy decision maker, but I am a darn good laborer.
Beautiful.
You look like a darn good laborer. And what do you want to know from me?
I want to know what you wish I would do.
To get on the boat? Or just in general?
Just in general, I think. Like, in this moment, I think is what it's kind of...
All right. You look like a darn good laborer. And truth be told, this Paul I got is kind of a piece of shit. Wouldn't mind replacing him out. So, yeah, I suppose I might have some space, but, I really wish you'd go apologize to that poor ma'am who lost her husband. She could really use a bit of a pick-me-up.
Of course, Captain.
Please, call me Captain.
Very well. Captain. And I will turn and go and try and find Vespera.
Perfect. We're going to jump back into the autopsy for just a second as another person enters that room. A Miss Kim Shepard walks in from sort of an office on the other side that connects to the far side of the hallway. She's a tall woman, maybe about maybe half the age of Miss Hatchet, and says, "Oh, I see we're finally getting to this then, Sandra. Are we about ready to move on with the funeral?" Poor, what's the name of this dead guy?
Kevin.
Poor Kevin here deserves to be put to rest.
Despite the fact that he is quite dead, as I have now determined, finally, he still deserves for your full recognition.
As she chops off the toe.
Oh, the toe is gone. The toe has been dealt with.
It's in a little silver tray. Yeah. Yes. There is a lot to... Sorry, I didn't mean to be a little crass.
That's fine. Sometimes people deal with these emotions by being coarse.
Yes, it's left me in a bit of a pinch. He was my business partner, and now I'm left to run the cemetery and mortuary all by myself. And so...
Certainly, Mrs. Phillips could help you with the business. I'm sure she's quite well aware of all the goings-on.
I don't know if you've seen her recently, but she's not very well together these last couple of weeks. I think she needs perhaps a break for a while. I'm very concerned about her. She seems to have lost touch with the reality and the stable grounding that the Washburn ladies try to teach all of us. And it seems like she's really disconnected from...
The what ladies?
Well, the Washburn ladies. It's our society here in town. We're really just out here to look out and care for each other, and we sponsor a lot of good work on this island. And
well, I am glad to hear of it, and I would like some further information about this society, as I have a curious mind. But I must admonish you, Miss Shepard. You would know as well as I, as a woman in this business, that someone who is bereaved, such as Mrs. Phillips, certainly is looking for direction in her life. Maybe she wants to be involved in the business. Perhaps this is her calling. I understand that you mean well.
Point taken. I can see from your perspective that must be true.
Well, how do you think I came into my position? My husband passed away many years ago, and here I am, making something of myself.
I see. And you, who are you, and what do you do again? I'm sure I've met you.
I'm sure you've heard of me from our associate, Dr. Ramirez here.
You were here. Oh, you did a stint on this island. Yes.
That's correct.
Oh my God.
Yes, Mrs. Clem Hatchet.
Clem Hatchet. I was just
you were
a girl when you were here.
Slip of a thing, I do recall.
How? I'm sorry, I've lost myself. We
do sometimes in times like these, of course.
Why don't you come to our society night tonight? Maybe we could get Vesper to come and the women are meeting. We'll help her plan the funeral. We'd love for you to be a part of it.
Well, I do appreciate your invitation, and I'll certainly bring her along if I can manage to twist her arm and whatnot. She has a young daughter. Is it all right if she's also in attendance?
Well, the student union does take care of the children for these times, so the ladies can be unburdened. Perhaps they could sit with Hester as well.
Certainly. All right. Well, I'm about done here. She holds up the gear. Does this ring any bells for you?
You can see why don't you read a person? Because this woman immediately gets an evasive look on her face.
Wonderful.
Ooh.
I would love to read a person.
Yeah, roll with some passion.
Roll with passion. I have great passion. My passion is 2.
That is
I was
good.
going to say, I'm excited to find out what Clem's passion is.
Yikes. That's
Toad.
They're
very
equally passionate.
5.
Oh, no.
I'm just all caught up in this whole thing. You know?
Oh, yeah. I think she. Well, this. It does look familiar, and she maybe pulls the piece of the clock from you. Well, this is. I think I do know where this goes. Let me take this with me, and I'll give it back to you tonight when I can see how it fits in with everything else. Thank you so much. If you would go speak to Vesper now, I'll be going. And she tucks it into her little bag and walks away with it.
Mrs. Hatchet's already thin lips become thinner as she purses her mouth together in disapproval. She turns on her heel and heads out the door.
Edwin had walked down the hall where Vespera was chasing Hester. And Hester stops in her tracks as this man is at the far side of the hall who scoops her up. And she's like, Uncle Paul!
Have you come to console us in our time of need? And Vespera goes in for a big family group hug.
Vesper, what's happening? What's going on? We just came in to drop off this woman who hired us to come in here, but what do you mean? What's happened?
They told me they sent word. Didn't Captain Crenshaw tell you? Kevin.
Tell me what?
He has died. He's dead. Kevin's dead. Paul, what will I do?
Oh, Vesper, we'll figure this out. And I think there's this
woman back there says he laughed to death.
He laughed to death?
And Vespera bursts into sobs.
That's not. And so I think there's this like sobbing family moment that witnesses. What do you do?
Sorry, that who witnesses?
Edwin Rockford, the escapee who got told to go apologize.
I see this touching moment, and I definitely have kind of see them interacting, and I have definitely this ulterior motive. I was wondering if I could roll luck to see if I have some candy in my pocket.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a 10 plus 3 for a 13.
Oh yeah, my God, you have...
I don't know if you have it in your pocket, but you definitely, like, in walking through here, find a little candy dish on a secretary's desk.
Oh, that's so much better.
And you also pick something off the 10 plus for poke around list. You also get some other thing you find as you're, like, going through here being like, oh, here's a candy dish and also...
Ooh, okay. So I got a candy dish. And...
But a clue, a good item, a minor item, or something from the 7 and 9 table.
Good item, if I could have a clue, that would be cool.
Yeah, you see on Sandra Ramirez's desk There's a couple of other files that are open. There's a really old file with the name of Jake Cantor on it, and a much more recent file with the name Ken Crenshaw on it. And there's maybe 2 or 3 others on the desk as well.
Okay.
And they all.
Can I slip those away?
100%. Take them. They're
I
yours.
steal them.
Back with a knife tucked in behind your pants or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I tuck it in between my butcher knife and my body, and I just slip those back there because, yeah. And then I grab a fistful of the probably hard candies.
Absolutely, yeah.
That are in the dish as I approach Vespera and Hester and Paul.
Paul, you hear he's a piece of shit.
I hear he's a piece of shit. I don't think I heard them call him Paul, though. So no, I don't think I'm going to be hi, I hear you're a piece of shit. I'm going to instead walk up. This incredibly spooky man, mind you, this incredibly ripped, spooky man walks up. I apologize for startling you. It is most unfortunate what has happened to your lover. Would you like some candy? And I hold out my palm, which is probably a pretty abnormally large hand, and I just hold it out towards Hester.
There's something about you that Hester, that just delights Hester. I don't know if it's some cartoonish proportion or something, but she looks at you with the candy in your hand, and a smile breaks across her face for the first time in a couple of weeks, and she takes a piece of candy and then buries her head back in Uncle Paul's shoulder.
If Hester likes you, then I trust you. What is your name, strange man?
My name is Edwin Rockford.
Hello, Edwin. I am Vespera Phillips.
Pleased to meet you, Miss Phillips. And
Mrs.
Phillips. And who is your spawn?
What? Oh, this is Hester. Hester is my hope and joy, and all that I have left of dear Kevin.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Oh yeah, that's Paul. He's Kevin's brother.
And Edwin looks Paul dead in the eyes, and he goes, I am sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Obviously, in my mind, referring to the man who just lost his job and not his brother.
I think Paul hands Hester back to Vespera and says, I think I gotta go find the captain. I'll be back in a minute, Vespera. And okay. He leaves for a minute. Just you and this creepy man and your daughter.
So how long have you been in town?
I live here. This is my hometown. What about you? Where are you from, Edwin?
I am also definitely from here.
It's starting to come back to you, this thing that was whispered around the Ladies' Society about someone escaping from the home for the criminally insane, run by one of their members. I gotta find this note. The Washburn Reserve. It's like that name is starting.
I feel as though Adrian said something about an Edwin at one of our reserve meetings. Are you perchance quite insane, Edwin?
Mrs. Phillips, do
yes.
I look like somebody who is insane?
I'm much too polite to answer that question. I'm a Washburn lady.
I feel like the scene ends on that line because it's perfect. Yeah. And where do we find the captain a few minutes later, having seen the autopsy finish up? Another exchange maybe beyond glass.
He's probably putzing around Clem Hatchet, just sort of keeping. I don't know. I assume there was a scene that we didn't see where she invited him along, or he invited himself along, or.
I would not permit him to leave without taking me and my horse back to the mainland, and so I naturally insisted that he come with me.
Oh, well, then he's bored. Then he's just bored. He's walking in the halls, like looking at shit, like, yeah, this be a hospital, all right.
Storming down the hall, Paul Phillips turns the corner. Captain!
Scum! What do you need?
No, not... I'm Paul.
You're
the second time you've done that to me.
Oh! Shit! Sorry. I keep...
Is there maybe something you should have told me?
Damn, I must have told Scum something terrible. Has he been crying a lot lately? His brother's not dead. Can you tell him that? Your brother's dead. Apologies.
Yeah, it turns out he is.
Yeah. Well, you look all the same. My eyesight ain't what it used to be, you know. My apologies.
I can't work for you anymore. I quit.
But I wanted you to stay, and well, that's fine. Either way. Do me a favor, one last job. Tell that man at the end of the hall that he can have your job.
All right, no, I gotta... Okay. This is a lot, Captain. Are you... My brother's dead. Like, he starts crying. This guy you've treated like shit for the last little bit just breaks down in front of you.
No, I liked him. He was the one I liked. It was the other one that I thought was a piece of shit. I'm so sorry, Scum. Paul, I really tried. It's tough. There's 5 of you and so many similar sounding names, all with S's for some reason. I'm sorry for your
Somebody
loss.
thought him up. But I'm Paul. I don't have an S in my name.
Well, it's just you look so similar to Scum, I guess. It's the legs, you know. They're both short.
We both have 2 of them. It's true.
Yeah, not like mine. And he knocks a hard wooden leg. Well, I am sorry. Here, and he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out an opal.
A what?
An opal.
An opal.
Yep.
Here. Cheers.
And he takes this shiny stone in his hand. And he doesn't really know what to do with it.
It's yours now. You've earned it. I should go look at the fog. Did you ever talk about this place on the ship with your crew? Like, would it be known that you had a yeah, I suppose so. Yes, I've never been much of a storyteller, and yet he tells like really intricate, deep stories that just seem to trail off. But they know.
Captain, if you're sticking around for a minute, maybe this is all you. I know you had in your boy in the graveyard. Maybe this island sucks. Can I have my job back? I don't think I want to stay here.
Well, this is a roller coaster of emotions, I'll tell you.
It's been a rough day. I don't know what's going on. We gotta.
Scum, you've always been my favorite. Paul.
Paul.
I like you the most. I'd love if I could start calling you Scum. It'd make everything a lot easier. But you're hired. Do me a favor. Go tell that man that he has a job, and then go find Paul and tell him he's fired. Wait, Scum. Go tell Scum that he's fired. Oh, I'm getting confused. And then everything is right with the world, and I guess I'll take the opal back then.
You want to what? Like, I think Paul's got his hand around this opal now. Like,
well, the opal is significant of departure. You know this. I give the opal when someone leaves the crew. If you're not leaving the crew, it doesn't make much sense. But you can give the opal to Scum.
You'd better have this back.
All
and
right.
he gives you the opal.
And in the end, the captain grabs his hand and says, "Listen, Scum, it's Paul."
Paul.
And he looks him dead in the eye and says, I have always liked you. And just to clarify, are you staying with the crew? really confused.
Can I give you my answer tomorrow, Captain? I got a brother to bury, and...
Of course. So sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I feel like...
I'll do the dirty work. You deal with you. The captain turns around.
Puts the opal bag in his pocket.
Yeah, he takes the opal bag and he walks over to Edwin.
Stupid game.
Son, sorry for the tear in my eye. Apparently got names confused, but so long as you're okay to be called scum, you're on the crew.
See, you know what dynamics at play here that I hadn't really considered? You haven't slept in a long time.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's been like 30
I
hours.
factored that part in.
Oh, sorry,
So-
Rob.
Sorry.
We're not being
No,
disrespectful. We're
it's all
just-
good. I was like,
Luke-
this isn't that funny, but what's happening here? It's like,
Yeah,
it's
oh,
funny to me.
I know what's
It's funny
happening
to me.
now.
Oh.
All right.
Makes
I'll
sense.
bring it down.
No.
I'll bring it
No,
serious.
you don't have to. Don't change a single thing.
I love you, Harlan.
But yeah, he keeps the opal and he talks to Edwin. He says, you got a place on the crew. I just need to get rid of some dead weight. And I think Paul's still on board. I'm going to go
Did
talk.
you
What?
need me to remove Paul?
No. But do me a favor.
Okay.
And obviously you've made right. And the captain looks at, the lady and the kid who are smitten with Edwin. So he feels like he did good by him. So now you're trusted in the captain's book. Do me a favor and just make sure you keep that one safe. And he nods to Hester. This ain't no place for the devil's children. And he turns around back to the room to be with Clem, because I wanted to say to Clem that I wouldn't mind a word with you about that there watch piece you got.
So you're back in the room with
I was
Clem now?
thinking, I don't know.
Yeah,
Where am I?
I'm good for just a short scene there, and
I
then
just
we might
wanted
jump to
to
later this evening.
to let her know about my son.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
might know more about that, but TBD. And it fades off. There we go. I'll do more later.
We nod.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the next scene isn't like later that night at the Washburn Society gathering for ladies, where they've got a small tea set together. There's maybe a dozen women there. The student union is taking care of any kids in the town, and in addition to Kim Shepard and Sandra Ramirez, there's Dr. Adrienne Hoff, and she's joined the group as well. And the Washburn ladies are gathered maybe just one of the women's home. I think is probably maybe it's the Phillips home, but just to make sure it's not so empty and cold. So they're at Vespa's house.
That's nice. So Vespa is was previously a member of the society.
Yeah, I mean she lives here. I think all the women in town are invited until they get specifically uninvited.
Ooh. That sounds stern. What's the vibe
we
like?
open the meeting. It's a wonderful vibe. We open the meeting with the Washburn Society ladies song.
Oh
We
yeah,
all join together. We say, "We are Washburn ladies. We all know our place. Whatever may happen, we shall serve with grace." And then we all make our secret society sign at each other and say, "Save face, know your place, live with grace, Washburn. Washburn forever."
Again
Amazing.
with the tiny
Anyway,
lips.
welcome.
yeah.
I'm assuming the men aren't invited to this, correct? Okay.
No, there's a cigar club meeting also.
That's
could go
fine.
to.
Just
but-
wanted to make sure.
I'm looking around for food. Are there sandwiches? Are there tea cakes, or what's going on vis-a-vis tea and cakes?
Yeah, I mean the librarian Spencer Bell has brought a lovely plate of sandwiches, and Dr. Ramirez has brought like a pot full of soup that is being shared amongst everybody. It's displayed on just the finest of china that has been brought and displayed around. And they've made themselves at home in the Phillips house. There's enough lovely old, kitschy things around here.
And what else happens at this meeting apart from just like a song and a weird society like gang sign, and then we eat? And then do we like chat or what?
I think it's mostly like gossip and chat, and then lots of people seem to like break off into their own little bits where they discuss the weirdness about town. And were you part of the society when you were here as a midwife, or is this like your first time at a meeting?
Oh, I've never been to a meeting before.
And so I think maybe there's
it's a little chilly, maybe.
Yeah, there's definitely this moment of like, oh, someone who isn't on the inside. Well, we're going to give the polite version of this. And if you feel like there's a lot of conversations happening around you, but not particularly with you.
Sure. I would like to perhaps convince these ladies that I'm worthy of sharing maybe a more intimate conversation with.
Absolutely. The one who seems the friendliest to you is the librarian, Spencer Bell.
We're probably of an age.
I think so, and I think she's also like curious about your work. She seems to be asking a lot of like, oh, so what are you doing here, and how did you find out about it? And, like, she just wants to know what you're all about.
Yeah, of course. So I share with her some pertinent details, and then kind of go on a brief tirade about the qualities of a decaying body. Before I catch myself, and I noticed that maybe a few heads turned when I was going on about the finer details.
No, Vespera is just sobbing quietly in the corner because you talked about decaying bodies, and that's all it takes now.
I really don't intend to upset anyone, of course. I'm so sorry for those of us with more delicate sensibilities. It just... you understand, Spencer Bell, this is a fascinating piece of the medical sciences of the human body and an understanding of the biological sphere.
Yes, I've been, ever since my Jake passed away, I've been very fascinated with that sort of, with that part of life. It's, they say it's natural, but I don't understand... Do you know they say he was laughing as he fell from that clock tower? Does that seem like a thing that could happen? Is there a euphoria when you know you're facing the end? Is that a thing? You are.
Well, sometimes I'm sure it has happened. I've never seen it before, and it seems a little bit strange, of course. But perhaps he was a very pleasant man in life. I've never had the fortune to meet the man, unfortunately. Do you have any details that you would happen to want to bequeath to me about who he was as a living human?
He was very serious. I'm not sure what brought him up to the top of that tower. He wasn't the kind to feel... I mean, he never told me if he was, trying to end it all or anything, but
No,
seems like it's cursed ever since.
Ever since?
Oh, ever since Jake fell, and nobody's been able to get the tower to stop it. It still reads 7:30 in the morning every day. I walk out there. I reminded the time poor Jake passed away.
Very strange indeed. And who was in charge of this clock tower building? Who would be responsible for fixing it?
It falls to the town council, and every time they've tried to have someone brought in a technical expert, even just last year or 5 years ago, they tried to buy a best mechanic in this part of the world. That's what they say. He sold himself really good, but he also, can you imagine, fell from the tower.
And tell me, as a woman who's many years under her belt, as do I, how many people have died in mysterious circumstances around this tower?
I don't know that Mr. Phillips was related, but he was found out there on the street, and if you count him, that makes half a dozen in 40 years.
I should count him. Indeed, these are very peculiar circumstances. Have you yourself been ever up to the clock tower? Up inside, I mean.
Never. I make a wreath, just on the day Jake passes. Just I see the flowers that grow around there. I can't stop thinking about it. But I've never got closer than to lay it on the steps of the stone.
Fascinating.
So Vespa's spending a lot of time crying at this party. That's my understanding.
It's her current modus operandi. Yes,
right.
She is sobbing.
Your Aunt Kim stops by with a cup of tea for you. Vespera, I think this weekend we should hold the funeral.
Are you certain there's nothing more we can glean about dear Kevin's passing before we put him in the cold, hard earth, Kim?
I don't think there's much more we can know, and I think it would be nice to give him a really fitting send off. Now that Paul's here, his brother, there's family from all sides. I think, why don't you let me take care of the details?
All right, Aunt Kim. I appreciate you. Kevin wasn't really he didn't laugh very much, and that Mrs. Hatchet over there, she says he looked like he laughed himself to death. Do you think that's true, Kim?
Well, I don't know, but maybe it's nice to think of him feeling really pleasant up there somewhere, looking down on us, wishing that you would go on.
Oh. Yes, sure.
I think what we really need
go on
to find a return to something that feels normal, some sense of moving forward. We'll talk more about it tomorrow.
Oh, all right.
How has Edwin decided to spend his evening?
Edwin is going over that stack of files he found on the desk.
Yeah, do you want to puzzle things out when you look at them?
I'd love to puzzle things out. So that is going to be...
Roll plus reason. Where are you doing that?
Reason. That's a wonderful question, isn't it?
Well, if you're part of my crew, I don't think I'd let you leave necessarily. I'd probably bring you somewhere.
Yeah, I think I'm sticking around with the captain. I feel so much relief having a job.
Could you get settled into your new quarters on the boat, like chicken?
No, we're gonna go for a beer in town.
Oh,
I'm gonna take you to the Red Dog Tavern.
The Red Dog Tavern is perfect.
And as we pass by the captain, it's like a still fog-covered night. His pipe sticking out. He leads the way a little bit with Edwin a few steps behind, and he sort of looks up to the house on the hill where the women are having their party. He turns around and he says, "Edwin, let me tell you something about women. Especially these women." And he says with a scowl, "Gender it's a social construct. It is reinforced by societies like that. We're equals, and no matter what they believe about being less than servants to man, it's a lie. I don't trust them types." He says in the most 1920s rhetoric from 2020. And he says, "Let's get a drink at the Red Dog Tavern." Now, is there a way I can spot what he's got on him? Anything I can roll?
Yeah, you could. You could act under pressure to see if you can.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I'm not, the captain's not gonna get mad. It might be easier if we're working on the same problem.
Yeah.
So I roll plus reason.
Yeah.
And my reason is 2. There we go. So that is a 5, 6, 7.
So you both...
Sorry, let me just do this real quick. I have unflinching as my lore move.
What's that do?
So I'm used to stressful situations carrying on when others collapse. When you act under pressure, you may spend a point of lore to turn a partial success into a full success or a failure into a partial success. Does one of those... So I rolled a 7 to 9.
Yeah.
Which was a failure.
No, it was a partial success. But spend your point of lore because something cool is going to happen.
Yeah, I'll make it a full success.
Yeah. So there's this creepy fog-filled night. You're used to creepy fog-filled night. There's a full moon up in the sky.
I was born in it.
Lighting up these clouds, sort of getting this really diffuse moonlight over everything. And the both of you at the same time see this flash of something flying across the moon. Like something, it didn't look like a bat or a bird, just something big, and it flies and it comes down low across the town and you lose it behind the clock tower. And it's startling. Like it's freaky. It's something out of one of those nightmares you still remember from being at the operating table. The captain's like, this is whatever. In that moment where Edwin is maybe having like a, oh shit, back up, his jacket flies up and you see he's got a whole bunch of paper stuck into it and a knife.
And a sawed-off shotgun.
Like his jacket flies up and you see this whole bunch of shit that he's carrying with him.
The captain...
And you're...
like eyes them on the ground. He's like his hands are still in his pockets. The captain. He's like walking like this. He bends down before taking his hands out of his pocket, and he reaches out and he grabs the shotgun and the knife and stands up and hands them back to Edwin. Best be careful, lad. And then he looks down at the files and he's like, my son, Crenshaw. Aye. And he bends down again, picks them up, but this time flips through them. I myself wonder exactly what happened. And then he hands it back.
Yeah, so maybe now we cut to the Red Dog Tavern, where you guys have these 6 files scattered across the table.
It's just that women, they deserve to be treated. Yeah, anyway, files continue.
So yeah, what's Edwin able to puzzle out?
Can I aid him now that we're doing it together, or help?
Totally.
Him?
I failed. I got a 6.
Oh, so this help could make or break it.
Mm-hmm. It could absolutely make or break it.
So, do you trust Crenshaw?
Absolutely.
Sorry, other way around. Crenshaw, do you trust Edwin?
I mean, I gave him back his sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah.
I think Crenshaw's biggest downfall is he trusts everybody.
So yeah, roll with a +1.
Or not that he trusts everybody, but he doesn't. He's just gonna die by somebody. 6, so 7.
7. So that's a +1. Brent bumps the 6 up to a 7. So you both partially succeed. So you get to ask one question from this cool list of puzzling stuff out.
Look at that.
And then something's gonna happen.
I'll let you ask the question.
Okay.
And I even say it. I'm like, you can see this, son. Put it together. Let your mind's eye see it.
Oh man. I mean, I feel like it's kind of obvious, but shoot, this is a hard one. Who's in control here? Seems like a good way to connect everything. And I think the other one that struck me was, how does X fit into Y? But I think all of these things fit together because they're all deaths from the clock tower, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of a given. So I think I'm going to go with who's in control here, if you think we'd be able to derive that from the documents.
The thing that is clear between all the documents, there's a little bit of not all of them died by falling off the clock tower.
Okay.
But the thing that is consistent among these 6 cases is within a day or two of their death, they had gone up to the top of the clock tower. and come back down. And so whoever or whatever or the thing that is associated with the top of that clock tower is in control of the madness going on.
And I guess Edwin didn't see the autopsy because he arrived after.
Yeah.
So he didn't see the piece. So the captain sort of leans forward. You can smell the tobacco in his breath. And he says, "That man, Kevin, he had a piece of bronze clock in his mouth. And my son, well, he had something similar on him."
Do you have a watch, Captain?
I do.
The next time you check your watch, you notice that it's stopped at 7, at half past 7 at half past 7. Like just the next time you check it, it's stopped there.
Spooky.
Yeah. So, what do you think the next scene is?
Well, we ought to bring this information to Miss Phillips and that lovely Miss Clem. What's her name?
I think Mrs. Clem Hatchett is maybe leading Mrs. Phillips away from the Washburn Ladies Society house after the end of the meeting. Maybe we're walking arm in arm, sharing a little bit of a conversation, as I've had an opportunity to speak with you earlier on in the evening and apologize for my appalling behavior. And really, I can't say it enough times. I had no idea that I was going to upset you, and I really just must say that You're quite a sweet young woman, and I'm very sorry for the state that you're left in here with your lovely daughter. And, she reminds me of myself when I was that age, very inquisitive. Thank you for showing me the etching that you have of her. I must say that I'm shocked by the conditions that your husband was left in, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to have a proper funeral service for him when you are ready, of course. But it unfortunately, his passing is somewhat mysterious, and I'm hoping you would be able to perhaps lend your individual knowledge of the situation to perhaps help us determine ultimately what is responsible for the death of your husband. Are you ready, madam, to take this step with us?
I have to know what took him from me. I would do anything to figure it out.
She just steers you down now toward the docks. She starts walking rather quickly now in her little hobnailed boots, kind of like dragging you along. And so I hope you understand, but we must simply speak with the captain. I do believe that men who are sea-bearing virtue have a specific kind of intuition with regards to cases like this, and we do, unfortunately, I believe, need to assess the situation with brains that are unfortunately removed from the goings-on in this town. I think you will agree with me in my assessment that perhaps there are some connections between people here that may be not all what they seem.
Speaking of brains, what?
If you think Paul's boss can help us, I suppose that Kim can watch little Hester for me for a little while.
You can call him
and
Captain.
Vespera's just... yes, Paul's boss, the captain. Yes, Captain Crenshaw.
Speaking of brains that are removed, you see the gentleman leaving a pub, as one would expect this late at night is the fashion. But you spy them on the streets on the way back to the dock. It's a small enough town that it's easy to run into each other.
There. Yes. Captain.
Hi.
And strange man.
Edwin, his name is. Scum, we call him.
Scum. Yes, just the fellows we were hoping to run into.
What can we... Well, then we were looking for you, too. And the captain nods to both women as equals.
I love it. Oh, it's so much.
It's very good.
And why were you looking for us as equals?
Well, Edwin and Scum and I, we put our heads together, physically and mentally, and we decided that there might be more to this case. Tell him what we found out, Scum. Edwin.
Sorry. Yes, I am Scum.
That's you. Tell him what we found out.
We discovered that there are at least 6 deceased after visiting the top of the clock tower.
You did good, son. We also found out that my son, who was killed in a similar fashion, all these men went up at some point to the night, and all were found with trinkets in their pockets.
You think Kevin went to the clock tower and that's why he had a sprocket in his pocket?
It's... Yes.
Yes, I do.
We must go immediately.
However,
we have to go. Mrs. Hatchet, to the clock tower.
But wait, there's more than that.
It has the answers.
But there might be more than that.
It's my opinion that whatever caused this terrifying expression that your husband's face was left in at the moment of his death is probably somehow involved as well. How did you come to know about these other murders or passings, deceasednesses, as it were?
Edwin smartly here stole them from the hospital.
Ah, wonderful. Is there any evidence of any kind of strange facial expression? Give me those. And she just pulls a file from your hand, Edwin. She starts, she sort of walks out underneath a gas lantern that's lighting part of the docks here. She holds it up against the dim light, trying to see this spidery handwriting, this light ink. She's frustrated with it. I can't read a damn thing.
It's English, ma'am. Let me try. And he reaches out and takes it.
I have a flashlight. That is one of my starting items. So I pull out a flashlight and I.
You have solved light. It's dark at night puzzle.
Yes, I did it. So I think before you can hand off the documents, I flick it on and I hand it over to you and I go, "Here you go."
I refuse to take it from you. I just allow you to hold it for me while I read through the paperwork.
Very well. I turn it on. Here you go, Mrs. Scum.
No, Hatchet, Mrs. Hatchet, please.
Oh, my apologies. I thought Scum was synonymous.
That's your name. No,
trust.
That's your name.
All right, I'd like to maybe puzzle things out here or poke around.
Puzzle things out. I think if you're looking at the documents.
I am indeed. All
yeah.
Right, here I go.
The intellectual.
I don't suppose I could roll help since I am holding the light so she can read it better.
Quite literally.
You totally could, yeah.
Fuck yeah. Ooh. That's a 9. Do you help me?
Thanks. I think we have trust, but that's only going to get me to a 7.
Hey, so something's going to happen, but yeah, bumps you at 9, bumps you up to 10.
Excellent. All right, so I get to ask 3 or gain 1 lore. I would like to please gain... no, I want to ask 3. I already have quite a bit of lore. Actually, I get to roll a d6 for my lore as one of the 2 that I chose for my gear.
So you should roll that d6
right now.
Yeah.
I got a 4.
Nice.
And I start with +1, so I have 5 total lore. So I don't think I need more lore right now. I don't really quite know how to use lore.
Oh, yeah. That lore is used. So you got a special lore move that does something on your sheet. Yep. And I think
I'm allowed to eliminate shock from myself because I'm dispassionate.
Well, there's something else that uses lore. But I know there's, like, if you're going to do some weird, like, funky Lovecraft ritual, you need lore.
Cool. I mean, that might come into play later. We'll see.
Yeah.
So I would like to find out, A, what does this mean pertaining to facial expressions? B, what should I keep an eye out for with regards to investigating the clock tower itself? and see who's in control here.
So what does it mean? It means there is some compulsion to laugh. There's some compulsion to laugh associated with these deaths that is beyond a sickness, beyond, like, it leaves a really mark on the body. Like you can see, like, if you can imagine if a person survived this, they'd be wheezing in a bit of a way. There's just the lines on their face that get stuck there. What was your second question?
So we do see evidence in all of the other cases with this facial expression, or
there
some
is,
kind of.
The various folks focused on it differently, but there is evidence of either the chest, like the damage to the lungs, or damage to the face from, like, this kind of
torn diaphragm from just the exertion of laughing. I want to know what I should keep an eye out for pertaining to if we head to the clock tower. What would I know to look out for?
Something to keep an eye out for. You've noticed it now that you're, like, working closely with Edwin. The way he talks, the way he breathes, the lines on his face, he might have been laughing like this at one point in history. Like, there's just enough left over there that makes you feel like he might have been to this clock tower before, or something, or laughed like this before, and there's just enough of a connection being that close to him that it feels. And you had a third.
Who's in control? Yeah. Here?
Who's in control here? You feel like whatever the creature at the clock tower, whatever entity, being, curse thing is going on here, is definitely in control here. It must want this sort of investigation. Like, there's just enough force of, like, you feel like you're being manipulated by this laughing entity, or this entity that causes laughing.
Excellent. I convey some of this information to my colleagues here. I'm not going to share the detail that I perceive about Edwin, because I don't think that is a smart idea right now, given that we are hanging out with this stranger alone in the dark. I would also like to maybe get a read, I guess, on one of the NPCs that I interacted with this evening.
Yeah.
Can I do that retroactively?
Who did you want to get a read on?
The librarian, Spinster Bell, because I spoke with her extensively. I want to kind of get a sense about whether she could be trusted as an aid in this investigation, or whether she would go tattling on us to some more important.
So, I mean, your gut feeling is she's probably more bought in than anyone else you've met before. You'd need to really meet with her in person and like gauge it. But you like feel she seemed the most on the outside of all the ladies there.
Sure.
Even Vespera, who was amidst all the grieving, she seemed more on the inside of the circle than everybody else.
So Mrs. Hatchet lays a hand on the grieving widow's shoulder, as what she's about to say may come as a bit of a shock to her. So she gives her a little bit of fortitude, and then she says, I have seen things in this world, hexes and rituals, curses, things that I can only imagine may have led to kind of this situation now. Whether I've actually seen concrete proof, some people still argue with me. However, I am of the belief that there could be some kind of a force or creature responsible for all of these deaths, some supernatural entity. And then she looks around at her, daring anyone to argue otherwise.
No, I agree. There are terrors I've seen, things I've done, and others I've tasted.
She looks over at Vespera like, see, told you this is the guy.
And I'm not crazy. I'm not.
I feel as though all of those I've lost are screaming to me from beyond the veil, and so I understand something something odd is going on. If I could just stop the screaming in my head, that would feel slightly better, I think.
I agree.
If you wish for the screaming to stop, there is always the laughter that I have heard, and it seems others have heard as well.
Tell me, Edwin, about this laughter. What do you mean?
There exists something out there. It takes control. You heard it briefly from myself back at the morgue when I saw the body. It is a sound.
His name is Kevin.
Kevin, yes, Kevin. It is a sound that I am all too familiar with, but it has been some time since it has affected me in such a way.
And so tell me, I'm startled. You were affected by this same laughter? When was this? And what event precipitated it? Have you ever been to the clock tower?
I don't know if I've ever been to the clock tower. That's a wonderful question. And I don't think Edwin knows. I think a lot of his memory is a lot of my memory is muddled. I remember bits and pieces, but the tower does seem familiar and it does call, but I was, and he looks around at everybody, squints a little bit. I was in the notes.
It's written on your hand.
Washburn for quite a time until I was able to escape.
I'm almost getting a Memento vibe from.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There is no.
Did you say escape? You weren't discharged, Edwin. You escaped?
And Edwin looks at the captain.
No worries, ma'am. Believe you me, if even a single doctor knew what I've done and what I've seen, I'd be in there too. Let's go.
And I think with it, yeah. With that, he's like, yes, I managed to work my way out of that accursed place and the noise that fills those hollowed halls.
So you're standing out under a lamplight, flashlight, and you're having this conversation. It's full moon. The
Mist,
wind starts to pick up, mist, etc. What do you do next? Like, a little bit of thunder? It might start to rain soon.
Look, if we wait any longer, another soul, just like your poor Kevin, might end up dead on the street with a smile on his face.
I think we should go to the clock tower.
That's
yes?
exactly. I
Captain?
was building up a bit, but yeah, that's basically the gist. Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking at worst I get to join my dear Kevin, and at best I find out what happens to him.
No.
So it's a win-win situation.
No, Mrs. Phillips, you cannot leave your daughter alone. You cannot.
She has her Aunt Kim.
No, she needs you. You must cling to that.
Fine. Okay.
Calm down.
But what if she gets called to the clock tower? See?
No.
We
you
should
understand.
go together.
We will go now. We will handle this evil. And your daughter will be safe.
Or we bring your daughter
Right.
now and she can come with us too.
Do you have any
She does
specific...
make me feel hopeful and lucky, so I don't know.
Do you have specific boons granted to you by her presence?
Or could she be sacrificial if the need be?
I think I should keep her close in my care, but as long as she counts as being in my care,
A girl needs
I do
her
feel
mother.
slightly luckier.
So
Let's
I mean,
go.
Yes.
We will bring her to this murder tower.
A child needs her mother regardless of gender. It's parents are important in all ways. I don't think it's fair to just focus on a girl needing her mother. It's important to have, and it doesn't have to be a mother, of course, or a girl.
I'm sorry, are you saying my Hester desperately needs her father too? Because
I don't think it's fair to put
him again.
I just mean to say that I think it's important that we make sure that we keep broad general terms, and this is not to mock, but to support genuinely. I worry about the state of people nowadays, and out on the sea there is no difference between...
There. No.
So I think the scene must then cut to a knock on the door and the door opening, and there's the four of you, and then Aunt Kim on the other side of the door, and you can see Hester sleeping on a couch in the back. Oh, Vesper, you're here to pick up Hester then.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm the captain.
What?
These are my new friends. Don't worry about it. We will find out what happened to Kevin, and Hester will come with us. What?
Vesper, what are you talking about?
I'm going to find out what happened to Kevin, and Hester's coming with us. That's all. You know,
now?
The usual.
In the middle of the night?
Imagine
when is a better time?
Started to rain too, so we were just,
absolutely.
We
There's
look
just a
like
flash
shit.
of lightning behind you, and a little bit of it's raining. Come in, everyone. You're not going anywhere in this rain. Just come inside.
You're not from here, are you?
I live here.
Well, then you must know this is pretty typical weather. You are on an island, and it is rainy season.
We go inside.
It's okay. I have my morning umbrella. It's dark and black like
but
the
it's
rest
evening,
of
darling. I don't think
me.
you need the morning.
The garb. It's the grief. You know.
Oh.
The widow's weeds.
Marnin. Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, Vesper, why don't you come in with me? Your friends can hang out in the parlor. I just want a word with you, and then say no more. Would that be okay? Come into the kitchen, please.
All right, Kim. I trust you. Everyone, if you'll just keep an eye on Hester. Thank you. Okay.
Can I read a person to get
absolutely
a bead on?
This
is your
Trixie,
aunt, right?
She's being tricksy for not letting the young girl go out with four crazy people.
Partner.
No, wait.
Also, I am under direct.
Isn't it Kevin's sister?
No.
Paul is Kevin's brother.
Yeah, Kim Shepard is Vespera Phillips' aunt, and Kevin Phillips and Paul Phillips were brothers.
Got it.
There's no saving my read a person.
Yikes!
Oh boy!
I got a 5.
I would like to potentially tail the ladies into the other room.
Yeah. So well, let's.
No.
I think so. I think you can. I think we're gonna. They're gonna play out like this because there's a couple of failed rolls here. I think so. I think Vespera and Aunt Kim get into the kitchen, with Miss Hatchet presumably following close behind until Kim says, "I just need one moment with my niece," and shuts the door to the kitchen in your face. You catch the shadow of someone else in there, just as the door is closing. Aunt Kim, with her back to the door so it can't be opened, says, "Vespera, we're really very concerned about you." And when she says "we," you turn around and see that it is from the Washburn Society, the woman who definitely has a name that I remember, that is Dr. Adrian Hoth is there with you. We're really concerned about you, Vesper. We just think it might be nice to come up to the Washburn Reserve, spend some time there for a little bit, really calm yourself, center yourself. It would be really healing for you. Why don't you come with me, dear?
I would like to attempt to convince. I would like to try to convince my aunt and the good doctor that really I just have to solve a mystery. It's fine.
Okay, so I want to pause at this moment. So you're going to convince them. Outside the door, we have Miss Hatchet. What are you going to do?
I'm eavesdropping so hard my ears are about to fall right off.
Absolutely. And at the door, just inside in the parlor, we've got Mr. Rockford and Captain Crenshaw. What are you guys doing?
I think the captain is playing peekaboo.
Yeah. Definitely the Hester is awake now and
like,
staring at
peekaboo. Peekaboo. Just like constantly on repeat.
Love it. I think Miss Hatchet can hear what's happening, but can't open the door because they're like, even if you tried, it's clear there's someone standing against it. Let's go and try and convince. Well, you could. I guess you could try, but it would take some effort. It's not an easy, obvious thing to do. But we now have Miss Phillips making her case.
See, I think really what will make me feel better is if I just get to the bottom of what happened to Kevin. That's the only thing that will help. And I roll a convinced check, and I actually get a 12 total.
Holy balls.
I rolled a 10, and I have a +2 affinity. So
yeah,
only the truth shall make me feel better. Kim, you understand.
They ask you to promise something first, and then do what you ask once you promise. So, that
the girl.
I understand. Safe? Yeah, I understand what might drive you. Okay, Dr. Adrian. Man, why am I missing this name? Dr. Hoff says, okay, you... And Dr. Hoff remembers every time that you've led the Women's Society in their whole spiel, how devoted to this you were before everything went bad with... I understand you need to get to the bottom of this. Promise me you'll stop by tomorrow. Just please come by tomorrow to the reserve, and we can talk about what's happened.
Of course, Dr. Hoth. I trust a Washburn lady with my life. Tomorrow, I shall come to the reserve, and in the meantime, I shall do my best to find out exactly what happened to dear Kevin.
Okay. And she nods for a minute, and Aunt Kim looks really distressed, but when Dr. Hoff nods, she opens the door and lets you walk out.
It like bumps into my face pretty severely.
Oh, opens out right into you.
Yep.
Yeah. And you gather up Hester and her things and make it down to... Presumably you guys took the hearse here.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. They can all lie down in the back together.
Does Adrian not see Edwin at all?
Yeah.
Adrian's still in the... I guess that's a great question.
I think it'd just be a really cool scene. Like, I'm interested to see her file out and pass by these people and then lock eyes for a moment.
Yeah, you know what? I think Edwin sees and Edwin hears Dr. Hoff's voice first as the door opens at the end and says, "I'll see you tomorrow. Please come by. You promised." It's Dr. Adrian's voice.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I think I freeze, honestly. I think my heartbeat goes up a lot, and I just kind of stand there staring at the door, trying to stare straight through it to get an eye on this person. And I think when they walk through the door and maybe lock eyes, but as I think some of that subconsciousness kicks in, and you just start to see a wild smile slowly form on my face.
You know what? There's a move for when something terrifying or potentially startling happens in this game, and I want you to roll a sanity check.
Sanity check, you got it.
That's the kind of game we're playing. It's the least, the least nice to mental health in the world. This game is. So roll me a act under pressure. It's a special kind of under pressure.
So that is, what is that?
Plus reason.
Yeah.
Reason. Yeah.
Great. I have negative reason.
Yeah, I'm sure you got great reason.
Oh, that isn't a bad roll at all, though. So I have a 10.
A 10.
Ooh.
So there's, upon seeing Dr. Hoff, you would have taken some shock. It could have really shook you. This 10, you keep your cool. You take no shock. So that's great.
Yeah. So then it's probably not as obvious of a smile, just like a little bit. Like it could probably be perceived as a like polite smile instead of a crazy wide smile.
Oh, Mr. Rockford.
Dr. Hoff.
I see you're still on the island.
I see you are still a doctor.
Yes, one who's very concerned about you. How are you doing?
Much better.
Well, I hope you're making more responsible choices than what brought you to see me last time. And know that I really have your best interests at heart. I'm not out to get you. You can always come see me.
Dr. Hoff is a good Washburn lady. I trust her.
The captain rolls his eyes loudly. You're putting back generations of women who are trying to move forward with their lives with that rhetoric. You don't need that. Sorry. Not my place.
I'm a professional.
I'm talking about that damn creed you say up there to follow, to put it in your place, malarkey. You deserve better than that.
Dr. Hoff.
But grace and face.
Grace and face.
It's a very good rhyme.
I like the rhyme.
It's a little antiquated, but it flows so good. There's something important about tradition sometimes, even if they lose their meaning and they're not quite relevant. That sense of context and history really lends.
Maybe, but look at who you're doing it to. Poor little Hester here has to grow up with such terrible insight to how women are treated in this terrible society. And the captain turns
she
around.
She doesn't have a father either. Oh. And Vespera starts sobbing too.
We're crying as equals.
I would love to do a move because I'm gonna try and I want to threaten her. Because I'm gonna, like, she says that line to me and I look her in the eyes and I go, "Don't worry, Dr. Hoff. Next time I come and see you will be under my own volition and under much better circumstances."
So there's a move for that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I
think.
Yeah. Oh, you have a move on your sheet for that.
Roll plus might.
I do. Yeah. Threaten is roll plus might.
It's a basic move.
Is that good, or are you thinking of something else?
No, I don't see it on the sheet of things that I have, which is very strange.
Yeah,
but if it's in yours, cool. Let's roll it and do what happens. I don't know why that's not where it is.
No. Oh, it was such a cool line, though. 4, so that's a 7.
Oof.
Hey, there you go. So what would you like? So when you threaten someone or something with roll plus might, you are physically engaging with the deadly promise of violence. So what would you like her to do, or there's violence? Is the intent of the move?
Oh goodness. Oh geez.
No, on a threaten, you get to choose.
Right, but he's asking
Rob.
why threaten.
Oh, I see.
Wait. What?
Right?
Well, it says on threaten, if I was 7 to 9, they can choose one of these, Rob. Hurriedly get out of your way, barricade themselves securely
I
in.
think Rob is frozen.
Oh.
But what Rob was asking was, the text for threaten is when you threaten someone or something, roll plus might, you are physically engaging with the deadly promise of violence. So he was asking,
What physical I'll do?
what do you want out of this?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, like what do you want her to do?
Oh geez, I didn't even think of that. I just wanted to scare her.
So you do scare her, and what we could not worry about the roll. You scare the shit out of her.
Okay, cool. That's what I wanted.
All right.
I want her to stay the fuck away from me.
Oh.
Yeah. She got message received.
Cool.
She's 100% intimidated. And so you pack Hester up, and you can see that the two women look pretty intimidated as the four of you and Hester leave.
Mm-hmm.
To the clock tower.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know what we're dealing with right now, but...
We know we're dealing with something evil and powerful. We need to be careful. That building was built many years ago. We should get in and try to see what we can find out. Don't smile.
Oh,
I do
don't
that.
worry. I don't think I'll ever smile
You think that,
again.
but then something tickles you just right. You ever seen a grown man fart?
I believe that's not a question for polite society, Captain.
No, it's not. But it'll make you laugh. Trust me. It always works.
The hearse pulls up in front of the clock tower, and the five of you pile out.
Mm-hmm.
Get in, jerks. We're going ghost hunting.
Yeah, what do you do? You're standing there. The tower is tall. It leans a little bit. You sort of silhouetted against the sky. There's a little bit of rain now, so it's just this hazy mist. You've almost lost the top of it in the clouds, except for where it's lit up by this big moon and the odd flash of lightning in the sky. It's not a heavy rain, just a little bit of a light mist coming down, enough to for everything to feel damp. But the car pulls up, and you can see the tower has a door at the base that presumably goes up to stairs that go up.
All right. Well, let's start in the basement.
Or the ground floor, perhaps?
Yes.
I'd like to poke around. I shall use my lucky object, one small child Hester. And I shall roll
like,
plus the luck she gives me.
A bald place on her head where you always rub for good luck.
She gives me great hope and luck. That's going to be an 8 total.
Nice. Do you want to find a hidden area / threshold in or out, a minor item, or determine a physical hazard present?
I would love to find a hidden area / threshold, because I imagine we're trying to figure out getting into this clock tower.
Or like sneaky doors.
So that seems perfect.
Yeah, no problem. So there's this moment where you're poking around and the main door is locked, and then Hester runs around the side for a minute and it's like, Mommy, there's a door here. Look, it's a little like a it's a window. They're open, and they're just like in that man. There's this blast of wind, and there's these two little windows and one of those sills at the bottom that are just flapping open in the wind, and you find a way into the basement.
Job, Hester. When one door closes, one window opens. Let's go. And I slide right through the window, and I ask someone to hand Hester down to me afterwards. if you wouldn't mind.
Oh.
Yeah, and
Passing me my toddler.
into the dark basement.
Into the very dark basement, and Edwin will come up and hand Hester in, and then also turn on his flashlight and follow promptly.
Love that flashlight.
It's such a good item.
Yeah.
So much more useful than my appropriate morning clothes, which was my starting gear. So,
Very
But
good.
also
I
your
did start with
clothes.
the small child. So you know what?
It's accoutrement.
I forgot to mention I have a cane.
Oh,
Nice.
the best for scrabbling in and
beautiful.
out of windows into basements.
Well, just in case it comes in handy. So I put that underneath my arm and I kind of shimmy down and I get the help of the younger folks with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we are all in the basement.
You are the captain joining you moments afterwards. There is a real creepy vibe to this place. Just that, like, it's you look around and there are as you scan the flashlight, you can see a rat's nest in a corner and cobwebs everywhere. Nobody comes in here to maintain this place, so it's just sort of for the last 40 years kind of gone to rot. There's some machinery down here that looks like it must have once powered. Oh no, beautiful. We love this.
We can hear you. Your
Can
video's
you hear
chopping.
us, Rob? No.
He's gonna start doing his classic racially charged rant.
That's
Just
right.
kidding.
Discord usually starts cutting people off when they start using, explicit language.
Yeah.
I'm starving all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Eat
so
something.
hungry. It's rude, but I'm gonna eat something, okay?
What, guys?
How
Listen,
dare
James,
you
guys are doing
eat
great.
something during a 24-hour stream?
You guys are doing great. I love your characters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like your guys' too. This is a lot of fun. Rob has a very wonderful style, and this is amazing. This is absolutely a blast.
Rob, they're just saying you're great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Just over it.
Joe has just stepped out for a second.
Makes sense.
In the meantime, we got a donation.
Yeah.
I might take 5 minutes too. Then I'll be right back.
Sure. Nizdor just donated another $115,
insane.
Store?
Nizdor!
putting us
Oh my
at
goodness.
$2,600.
Wow.
Today alone, we've raised over $1,000.
That's wild.
Wow.
Elizabeth,
so
did
much,
you want a
everybody.
coffee refresh?
Whew.
I should probably have water. I shall grab water while Rob is stepped away. Be right back.
Very quick bio.
Extra life! So, community, how's everybody liking the game?
Yeah.
Pew, pew, pew.
I'm loving it.
McDonald's style.
You make me laugh so hard.
Thanks. Pretty hungry too.
Just literally crying.
Literally crying. Is Zia and Michael and Brianna still awake?
Mm-hmm. I think Michael and Brandon maybe had a bit of a nap this afternoon.
Oh yeah, they're there. Okay.
I love how sleep deprived you guys are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's
Go
making
for
for
it.
such a wonderful, crazy captain character. Eccentric, I should say. A very eccentric captain character.
It's me, baby.
Guys,
It's all me.
yeah.
I'm actually gonna leave the video and rejoin. Because I still don't have Highland on camera.
Oh no.
I'm looking cute. Don't worry.
I know you are.
If James goes crazy, oh,
Here we go.
all the cameras are going nuts.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I came back from getting water and half of the people were frozen, so I was like, all right. Refresh.
We've all got snack.
If James goes crazy and kills everybody, I want to be the one to put a bullet in him.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
I don't have a gun.
But he's the one with all the weapons, right? Is this a problem?
I have a gun.
I chose Laura instead of a sidearm, so hopefully that serves me well.
I chose a small child instead of a sidearm, so...
What's the difference?
You know.
Henry's as good as a gun.
So the exciting thing about my character is I could have had let's
Assault
see
rifle?
what? Almost. I could have had a small sidearm and a shotgun.
Well.
So I could have just been guns a-blazing, but...
All
right, I'm ready. I have coffee.
Rob, you're muted.
Can't hear you, Rob.
I love Rob's reaction. He's like, yep. Just fucking goes for it.
Nope.
Still muted.
Totally not working.
Rob has the worst luck with Discord.
I know. He's the best person, but he has the worst luck with Discord.
Hey, it's me.
Yeah, there it is.
Yay!
Love it. Back from our commercial break. It just takes that long to get Miss Hatchet down into the basement. It's this moment of like it starts with her putting her cane under her arm to climb down, and by the end of it, now she's being helped into the basement by the captain. And
it's not my bones that are creaking really so much as my joints.
But into the basement you go to find it rat-infested, raccoon-full, cobweb akimbo, and you see some old equipment down here. There's a big steel cable with some sort of elevator that goes all the way up to the top of this clock tower that's got a big kind of winch system on it that looks like it's powered by some kind of crank that's hooked up to nothing anymore. And there is a set of stairs that go sort of outside the top of it until just the very top is this trap door that opens up into the clock tower way up there. And so it's just there's the main floor is really more of a landing that can sort of look down and up in this tower. And you sort of the flashlight scans across the roof, and it's just cobwebs and things the whole way up. What do you do?
I believe the only way to go is up. Does that seem right, everyone?
Yeah, the captain doesn't even climb in. You just like see him in there. Like you don't. His hands are still tucked in his pockets. He's not like everyone's like climbs to the window and like it just cuts away and then the captain's like standing. He's like, "Up we go then." And you're like,
Oh.
How'd that happen?
All right.
Yeah. So I think I would lead the way. I have the flashlight, so I'll just start to kind of climb the steps, scanning things as I go.
Yeah, you make your way up the steps, and like there's spiders, and there's you're using your flashlight to clear the way, and you hear. It's not a voice you hear in your ears, but it is one you all sort of feel in your bones. It's like a voice that has these vibrations that are low and slow and just move through your whole body, and you all kind of feel the tower shake with them, where it says, "You've come to visit me."
Ooh. Should we roll an act under pressure?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a sanity check here. There's two shock on the table. The trapdoor isn't open yet. You haven't got to the clock mechanism, but there's just this voice that says you've come to visit me.
This is exactly what I wanted from this character.
Huh?
We roll plus reason?
You do.
Vespera
got an 8.
I got a 9.
I got a 2.
Oh. I got a 9, but I'm going to spend another lore point, giving me 1 left, to make it a success.
Yeah,
Captain is the most sane and also supports equality. Makes sense. Hashtag relevant.
The captain still marks 1 shock, so you're startled. The Vespera and Miss Hatchet also mark 1 shock and also are -1 on your next roll, just because you're startled and it's lingering.
Now, I have a fun fact about Vespera. One of her special moves is that she is grief-stricken. Oh, Vespera is so melancholy that she reduces any shock suffered by 1 because really, the strange horrors of the world are just... I don't even notice them. I'm too sad.
Rob just...
Sorry. Oh, no.
This is what happens all the time
I'm
with
so
Dice
melancholy that I kicked Rob out of Discord with my sadness.
It's so tragic to be bumped out of Discord in a moment of a game. It's the most... but yeah, so grief-stricken. What's that all about? You don't
so melancholy, I ignore the strange horrors of the world around me, so I reduce any shock suffered by 1. So Vespera would be shocked, except she's just too sad.
And also the captain sort of looks around at everyone react. They're like, whoa, whoa. And on a 10, I still take 1.
You just don't get the -1 on your next roll.
Okay, so anyway, he looks around, but he remains stoic, unmoving. He has something called steadfast. You are a calming influence on those around you. So first off, I get +1 to act under pressure, which I've been incorporating. But whenever I suffer shock, I take 1 less. So I would technically take 0. But also, on a 10, when confronting a horror, other characters present reduce any shock they suffer by 1. And increase their trust in me by 1.
We're not to be fucked with. So, fucking Mrs. Clem, starts to fall backward
the captain grabs her.
Out of fear from this voice, and then the captain steadies her, takes her by the elbow. Oh, thank you, dear.
Don't worry about it. We're all okay.
Poor Edwin, though.
Yeah.
You have the -1 going
Is
forward,
Edwin
right?
okay?
Still?
What happens with my 2?
You realize that you've been suffering from amnesia. There are things that are really missing from your memory. And there's this moment, this flash that you might have a memory that happened here. It might really exist. And so that the game...
Fucking Rob.
Poor Rob.
I know. Sweet boy.
Lord, why?
Maybe we'll just pretend to be Frozen 2, and then
He doesn't feel bad.
he'll feel less awkward.
And then when he comes back, I'll move really quickly for a second.
James, good stillness.
Thank you.
Right back to the face.
I got myself. It was worth the chuckle, though.
You want to hear something funny? When I picked the captain, I didn't realize I had this hat. Literally 5 minutes before streaming, I was like, I think I have a hat. I went to the closet, and I was like, nice!
You guys should have seen the outfit he was wearing before this outfit. He would have been a very, very different captain.
I definitely would have played a character. It's funny how much my costumes influence my character. He definitely would have been more like, hello! Are you ready, kids?
Hi, Captain.
Hey, Rob.
Nice to be back.
Welcome back to the Invictus.
Good to have
team.
you back.
We missed you.
Yeah, so, what's happened actually is I've been here the whole time, and you're all suffering from amnesia to what I said.
Oh.
Just like our friend Edwin Rockford, who may or may not have a memory come back to him right now about something that happened previously. I want you to roll 2d6, add 1 for the captain being awesome and helping you with his steadfastedness, and tell me what happens.
You want me to roll?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm adding +1.
Yep.
So that is an 8.
An 8. You definitely remember being on these steps before.
Okay.
Did you go through the door? You get to decide.
No. I have not been through the door before.
What stopped you?
I think... Shoot, that's a hard question. What stopped me from going through the door before?
I did.
Maybe the voice
The
sounded
ghost
like
of me. Oh.
something.
I've been dead the whole time.
I think what stopped me going through the door before was at the same time I was climbing the steps, somebody else was up there and they jumped off, and when they hit the bottom, I was kind of shaken out of my...
You're in this moment. You're in this moment of being there and feeling them fall and run to the ground. And when the audience would see that body hit the ground, your flashlight hits the ground and below you. You've dropped it from your hand. You're in the dark standing at this door. And whatever is behind there, this voice says, well, don't just stand there. Come through. Come into my parlor. Let's welcome. Join me. What do? You can all hear this voice.
Okay, so we're back.
We can all hear it?
We can all hear it now. So we're back to, he drops the flashlight. We're back into this moment right now. Edwin dropped your only light. You're now in the dark. You've got this voice saying, come join me in the parlor.
Just to clarify, with my steadfast, your trust in me increased by 1 as well. I just want to make that clear.
Okay. And then I just want to resolve. So my 2, did I take any shock?
Yeah, you should mark 2 as well.
Mark 2? Okay, so I'm at 2. So that activates one of my moves, which is Strength of Will. Whenever I take a point or more of shock, I may roll plus luck.
Take that, Rob.
It's all good.
679, so I have 9. On a 7 to 9, I choose 1. I can gain a point of lore, I can eliminate a point of shock, or I can gain a +1 forward on my next roll. And I'm going to go ahead and take a point of lore.
Everyone has a -1 forward right now, right?
The 2 of you, you 2 do. I think Captain's fine.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Open the door and join me.
Don't
step
do it,
into
kid.
my parlor.
Don't do it.
But do you think that he knows Kevin, or what happened to Kevin?
Oh, listen.
Was Kevin up there with you?
Of course Kevin was up there. And he did the exact same thing that you're thinking of doing right now.
I'm not sure if I quite understand the layout of this clock tower. So we're in the basement. We're being asked...
Sorry. No, I'm imagining... So the clock tower is it's a big building. There's a set of steps with a railing that go all the way around the outside. There's machinery in the basement. There's sort of a landing on the main floor. So I'm imagining the 5 of you had walked up all the way to the top where this machinery, there's some kind of cable that goes to hold the bell up. There's a landing up there. There's a trapdoor to get up there. Imagine you're all standing on those stairs right below that trapdoor, about to go up into the platform where the clock mechanism is. and that's where you're standing with this voice resonating through the tower like a bell, and that flashlight had tumbled down this open space in the center to the very basement below you.
I would like to roll to convince Captain Crenshaw to open the door, because I must know who last saw my dear Kevin when he was alive.
So this is interesting, because I want to roll to convince them not to. So how does that work?
That's a great question. You...
What happens when it's to a head and we both want to do the same thing?
Double convinced.
Well, who? I guess the question of who would try first, and the other person can help or hinder. And let's.
Well, I already started talking, so I feel like I would have stepped in front.
Actually, sorry. Both roll plus affinity. We're gonna do it both at the same time. You'll both get choices.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's do it. Yar. Oh,
all right,
wow.
I got a 9.
3.
All right.
Cool.
Terrible.
So it starts out. The captain loses what? Vespera loses a point of trust with the captain.
Yeah.
So your trust goes down.
Oof.
And
Back
now
to a 1 with you, Captain.
You get to choose that they can do, if they refuse to do what you're saying, they're acting under pressure, or they can do it to gain a point of lore. That should be different. One or the other you can pick. This move is written bad, and I'm rewriting it as
I pick.
You can still choose whether you want to do it or not.
Yeah, you still get to pick whether you do it or not. The question is, if you do it, you get a bonus, or if you don't do it, you get a penalty. And which one of those is true, Vespera's going to decide.
I think the captain is super, super convinced by Vespera, but gains a point of lore.
Well,
Vespera
so that's not the choice.
appeals, or is that not?
So you get to. All right, the point of lore is that. So here's the choice that boils down to the captain gets to make. You can choose to let Vespera buy you and open this up, and you will gain a point of lore.
Yeah.
Or you can choose not to do that, and nothing happens.
I mean, yeah, I'll let her buy me. I don't think the captain cares all that much.
He's super brave.
Yeah, but also he's got real no connection with this woman. She's like cried at him once and kind of blamed him for some shit. So he's kind of like, all right then. So I take a point of lore and let her let her go to the door.
And I'm wondering if that, like, if there isn't like an echo in your mind of your son making the same choice at some point.
No, well, yes, but see, like, I picture this is which is kind of funny actually. Captain like steps out and he like looks at Scum and he's like, "Don't do it, you can't." And he like kind of looks at each of them and then she's like, "No, I have to." And he's like, "All right then, but listen, Scum, don't do it." Like, he's like, just because she's not really worried. I mean, he's worried about. Oh no, you know what though? Here's a question: does the kid go too?
Mm-hmm.
Hester goes everywhere with
So
Vespera.
then, no, I would change my mind. I would act under pressure because I think the captain would definitely see his son going through that door in the little girl, not the lady. So yeah, he would act under pressure.
Well, no,
whatever the choice was.
Yeah. So so we're at this moment. You've got here. There's this voice. Vesper goes to get by you, holding Hester in her hands. The captain is unconvinced. He's not moving. What do? I know what happened to Kevin, says the voice. Move the captain out of your way.
Who does what do? Oh, okay.
Captain, stand aside. We're here to find out what happened to Kevin. And that voice knows something, whoever's up there.
Just move him.
Oh.
The railing is right there.
Oh.
You made a promise. You made a promise to be there tomorrow. And if you go through that door, you won't be keeping your promise.
Yeah, I mean, if you go over the rail, I could still keep the promise, but that feels a little bit mean.
You say that to me?
Mrs. Hatchet.
Yeah.
Edwin, you're standing right behind Vespera, and she's talking herself into or not doing something to the captain who's standing in front of her. What are you two doing?
I have this flashback of me standing on the steps, and I think there's a little bit of an echo in my mind of I've been here before, I'm here now, am I always destined to be here? And I want to get away. I would like to roll puzzle things out.
Sure. What are you trying to think through?
I'm trying to think of, okay, so there is this voice in all of our heads, and it's obviously I'm assuming it's drawing us here. And what I'm trying to figure out is how can we just get out of this situation?
Roll with reason.
Reason. No, I got a 2.
Reason, your best stat.
Oh, absolutely. No, I get a 2. But I have no ideas.
You feel yourself start to laugh. Like I'm picturing you the furthest back, maybe. Or do you have Miss Hatchet behind you?
I don't know,
because he's right at the bottom. We have the two men sort of sandwiching the women and the girl.
So the furthest back, you just start to laugh, and so it's darkness, and the walls are reverberating.
This whole scenario is seriously creeping out Mrs. Hatchet. She puts a hand on Vespera's back, and she attempts to convince her to heed the words of the captain. Vespera, darling, listen. It's obvious that we are being manipulated here by whatever evil force is at the top of this clock tower, and I'm sure that if you go through that door, you and your daughter will both follow your husband into the ground. Now, if you want that for your daughter, that is your own choice. However, I strongly advise you against it, because this little girl has everything to live for. And, because I'm empathetic, I'm going to roll plus passion to convince her instead of rolling plus affinity.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Ooh. That is a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh, yeah. So, if you do it, you get a point of lore, Vespera, and if you don't do it, you're acting under pressure.
I think Vespera is a little hesitant because the whole push the captain over the rail thing was a little bit of a put off, to be honest, for her.
It's not
so
polite.
I think that she gains the point of lore, and it is convinced by Mrs. Hatchet's passion.
So the four of us, we have the captain, Vespera, Hester, and we all turn back down the stairs, and we are met with the face of Edwin, who is just cackling.
Who is laughing.
I wonder if I feel like this scene is over. I think the next scene is the four of you bursting out of the door into the light under the moon in the rain, like into fresh air again that's not musty. Like I think the laughing has subsided for a minute, and it's the five of you out in the fresh air again with the clock tower behind you. Mm-hmm. What now?
Edwin, well, that didn't give us any answers at all.
It didn't.
I was there before.
Maybe this will give us some answers. And I thrust the photo that I took off the wall. The photo of the builders who built this place to reveal that Edwin was one of them.
Blind speculation, or?
I don't know. Can I do that? I don't know. You wanted to be there before. How do you want to be there before?
Well, I was there climbing the stairs before.
Yeah, never mind. I don't know. We have to figure it out.
Are you sure we don't want to talk to whatever's at the top of the tower? It seems like...
Just yell your question from down here, child.
child?
Who are you? And I cry dramatically up towards the clock tower.
Okay, maybe the captain sees this and he's like, look, you can't risk it. You have a child. But I can risk it for you. And he like, with his unflinching, steadfast look, he meets each of you in the eyes and he nods and he turns around and he ascends the tower step by step by step. And you see the light of his flashlight growing ever taller in the dark as it like disappears in the fog.
Edwin's flashlight.
Yeah. Sure.
I was thinking something very similarly for Edwin, but
well, if you want to do it, you can do it.
Well, because I think go ahead, Rob. Lead us on this word adventure.
Let's do it. So I think Edwin may be still a step back. I think the flashlight is broken. It's gone. Yeah. So if you're going back and you don't have another thing, you're going back in the dark.
I can't. I just thought it would sound cool. He walks up in the dark, and you can't tell how fast, but you assume he reaches the top at some point.
He does. It's moments. It's way too many moments where the captain has just gone back in this tower, and I think there's this like pause as the four stand out in the rain. But inside, you've reached the top of the stairs. You're at the precipice. You've got that hatch in front of you. You can sense some pressure on the other side of it. What do you do?
I mean, yeah, I think, let's just say he takes a breath, he reaches out and he opens the door.
You are met with just a vision you couldn't possibly have considered. This shocking and uncouth black being with smooth, oily, whale-like surfaces, unpleasant horns that curl inward towards each other, bat wings whose beating make no sound, ugly prehensile paws, and a barbed tail that lashes needlessly and disquietingly. And worst of all, it doesn't speak, it doesn't make any noise other than when it touches the tower itself. That's what reverberates and makes this awful voice of it. It has no face to smile with, but you do notice one of its legs is twisted and mangled and has a piece of the clock, like a piece of clockwork sort of strapped to it, holding it together. And you see this terribly shocking alien creature. You're going to need to make a sanity roll.
Okay. Act under pressure?
Yeah.
That would be a 7 plus, so it's a 10.
A 10. Oh, you hold it together. You still. I want you to mark two shock, but that's a lesser version of what has.
Just one shock because I take one less when I suffer shock.
Yeah,
So I'm startled.
You're startled.
I've seen things out there.
When Rob said about his legs, I was like, you know.
I know what it's like to
legs.
lose a leg. I knock my wood leg.
And the clock tower reverberates. Some things can't be fixed, can they? Meaning its leg.
And the captain,
some things are always broken.
And the captain reaches out and says, not everything. And I mean, maybe it ends. Well, no, you say what you're going to do, actually.
I simply think this creature lands and takes a limp towards you. Like, we just see the space between this inky black void of it and the captain get smaller as it comes closer. What do? Do you let it get to you? Do you hang in this moment?
I think the perspective switches to the three below who are standing
for sure
right there. And the fog is like hanging. And after a moment, maybe one of them, like maybe Edwin, asks, he just goes to say something, but doesn't even get the words out because all you hear is the maniacal laughing of the captain as he plummets down through the fog and lands at their feet with a splat.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm really sorry Hester saw that.
I think there's a moment, like, you see the captain's chest heave as he's lying on the ground there, still taking in air and breathing out these wicked, laughing gasps. He's not dead, but he is pretty broken.
I go over to him. As the person with the most medical knowledge, such as it is in these times, and I put my hand on his ruined face. What did you see? What did you see?
The captain's just like, I saw heaven. There's got to be an end somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a happy ending for these people.
I think it's got to be like
No,
the madness
I
wins.
don't think so.
Yeah, okay. So I think there's always a denouement in these weird stories. I think there's always like we're gonna catch a piece of the life
37 years later
of these three people. So give me just the captain dies that night. And like if we go a week, a month, a year later, where do we find Miss Hatchet? How has this changed her forever? Like where's she at because of this?
I think Miss Hatchet has fully abandoned any semblance of the scientific method in favor of becoming a wandering mystic. She's sleeping in her hearse. She's gone way over the edge in terms of flowy scarves, and I think she's maybe attached herself to like a traveling circus at times. She's like working on spreading the word that there's things out there that you can't possibly comprehend, and how to recognize them and how to beware of them. So
I almost love the idea of this being everything that just happened is a story she was telling someone.
Yeah,
like
exactly. She's like, and that's why you have to trust your instinct and you understand that some things have to be left alone.
And where do we catch Edwin?
I think after the captain's death, Edwin doesn't end up leaving the town. I think after his second experience going into the tower and reliving that memory, he realizes that there's a lot more to his past that he wants to learn. And I think he almost views climbing the tower as sort of a high for himself that he ends up repeating over and over and over again. He'll climb the stairs. He never goes through the door, but he goes up and he like just slowly starts slipping away, trying to regain his past until, unfortunately, I think he ends up back in the Institute.
Yeah. I love the idea that like them picking him up off the street after he fell asleep in front of the door that leads up or something one time, and they end up, bringing him back to the recluse. And where do we catch up with Ms. Vespera Phillips?
I think that her Aunt Kim is bringing Hester to visit her because she foolishly followed through with her promise to go to see Dr. Hoth at the Washburn Reserve for the Criminally Insane. And her experience of the evening before didn't translate particularly well to the doctor. And so Vespera has been in the reserve for the criminally insane. She's wearing the white of a patient instead of the black that she would much prefer of her constant state of mourning. And her only spark of hope is that Hester still gets to visit her now and then.
And I think we see Hester visit time, and then she visits and she's older, and then she visits and she's older, and then she's wearing a doctor's coat, and she's coming to check on her mom, who's still here, as she now takes over caring for the patients in this place. And I think that's the end.